day. Oh yeah, you know what it was? I had it was being looped. It was, oh yeah, you know what it was? There you go. It was being. Yeah, you know what it is? I just didn't plug in my microphone today. Usually I have the little thing in my ear. I didn't plug it in, so it was still on that. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, again, it's Big Mike, the Little Ant, and we're back for a show. Going our normal. You can hear us now with our normal topics, 3 apiece, and then a versus. I'm sorry, put a question, and then a versus question. And I still do now, like I'm watching your show, I still go away doing a big question when I want to know the questions and answers. I'd rather have them like fresh for me, or whatever. Yeah. It's always go away when you do that stuff like that. But anyway, we're here for our show, and since you are a little disheveled, as you said yourself, I'm gonna go ahead and start it off. Or whatever. And I'm gonna start it off. Hold on. Let me explain though, guys. So I didn't have the sound correct because I decided not to use my normal thing. But the reason why I'm a little disheveled is I got up early. I put my clothes in the wash. I went to the gas station to get gas for the lawnmower. I vacuumed my floor in my bedroom. I started cutting the grass, cut my whole front yard, cut half of my backyard, and then I ran in the house to jump on here with Mike. And then I realized I had dog crap on my sneakers. So I had to jump up, go change my sneaker or take my sneakers off, put them outside. So here we are. And what I said to Mike earlier was I went to the movies and I seen Saw on Friday and I seen Separation yesterday. And Saw, I will give a thumbs up. It's definitely in the Saw universe, even though Chris Rock directed and stars in it. I don't know if this might put you off, but just a heads up, Chris Rock is Chris Rock. Like the comedy of Chris Rock, the raunchy jokes, he does a lot of that. So he had creative control, obviously. And then Separation was interesting, a movie about a guy and his wife. They was separating, and then she gets hit by a car, and pretty much like a ghost is trying to haunt him or whatever. So it's interesting. Okay, gotcha. All right, cool. To start off the show right now, this was a question especially for you, and I wish we had either Stadia Pro or one of the other guys on here too at the time, but it's okay. So my question for you, geared towards you, is what would you say is the most significant? Actually, I know what you might even say. Let's take out Stadia and cloud gaming. In this case, this is your answer. Okay. All right, so that's out of it. Besides that, what would you say is the most significant upgrade to gaming in the last 30 years?
And take Stadia out of it?
Yep.
I guess just graphics. You know, when we was younger, Nintendo was 8 bits. Then the Super Nintendo was 16 bits, and it kept doubling. Then we got into the PlayStation Cell processor. Then after that, we got into I forgot what architect the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 is on. But now everything is about teraflops. So I mean, you know, pretty much the advancement is just better graphics. Everybody, you know, people buy 4K TV, people are buying 8K TVs. These new systems supposed to be able to go up to 8K eventually. So I think graphics is it. That's the one thing you could define from the previous gen, right? You could say, oh, these games look better, right? You can never line up a Nintendo game from 8-bit Nintendo to a PlayStation 4 game and say that look better. It's impossible, right? So that's the clear definition of advancement in video games is graphics. Oh, and then they got the new thing now is which the new consoles can do if the developers put it in there. But the new thing is like the RTX. Oh man, what is it called? Where like sunlight and shadows look like realistic. It'll come to me, or if anybody's watching, remind me of what that is. But yeah, so yeah, graphics.
So no, if you were to say, okay, that's a good one. Is there any one specific thing though? Let's say and whatnot.
Well, right now the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 controller has called haptic feedback. So like, that's like new technology, right? No other controller is doing that. So if you you hold the trigger down a little bit, okay, they got this game called Returnal, and when you hold the trigger down all the way, you shoot, right? When you hold it down a little bit, I believe you like switch weapons or something. It's like crazy. It's like never before done. So and then the vibrate, right? So if a car is coming this way and go, you will feel the left side of the controller vibrate rather than the other side.
Yeah.
Before, the whole controller just vibrates a little bit or you know, a lot or a little bit. Now certain parts of the controller vibrates. Like if shots coming this way, you'll feel it on this side. That's pretty cool. Oh, and ray
That's
tracing
insane.
is what I was thinking of. Ray tracing is the new
Okay.
technology. Well, it's not new because computers been doing it, but computers been powerful enough to do it. Now we got consoles that's finally powerful enough to have ray tracing.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. I can only answer that question. So, what do you got for me?
Okay. A little bit of techie stuff right there, guys, but I love it. Sorry about that. All right, so my man Mike, this is what I got for you. So we've been holding these for a little bit. So this is a little old, but it's kind of cool. So I'm always starting off with a little bit of heavy stuff. Back then, the J&J vaccine was pulled, well, paused. They called it a pause. And since then, this is before they unpaused it. So I wanted to talk about that with you. But now they unpaused it. But now we could go into that the CDC recently said this week that if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, first and foremost, just so people know, just so the CDC suggested it, you still have to follow what your state says.
Yes.
So Murphy came out and said, that's good, but in my state, you got to wear masks or whatever, in New Jersey or whatever like that, if you ain't doing it. So, that's first and foremost. I think sometimes people get confused about the CDC, and then each state has their own different rules and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, which is, I think, a little weird for a whole country to follow these different rules or whatever, but that's not it. Yeah, not there. But anyway, my thoughts on that is obviously it's positive. That things are looking forward, but I think it might be too early to make that sort of announcement and whatnot. And I think the problem is that when they say that if you are fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear masks even indoors or whatever like that. Right. But if you're not, you need to wear a mask. Now, President Biden and a lot of the officials have said they're saying this to get people to get vaccinated. So that basically, even Biden's got a thing. You either get vaxxed or wear a mask, whatever like that, right? Mm-hmm. So people don't like masks. It's supposed to incentivize you to go get vaccinated so you don't got to wear it no more. But that's foolish, I think, or whatever like that. Yeah. Because the average person is just going to say, well, I'm vaccinated. I walk indoors with no mask. How would you know if I'm walking into Walmart or walking into Target or a restaurant, wherever, if I'm vaccinated or not? You see what I'm saying? So I think that that's a foolish thought process or whatever. Like if you really don't want to do it, you're still not going to do it, and just not worry to say you did it. Unless they have some way which they're not doing to even say like, are you vaccinated or not? Then it's not incentivizing. The problem is that when you want to get, let's say, 5 people who aren't vaccinated to go in this, let's say 7-Eleven, right? Which is not a big place, as you know, and they all got on no mask, but they're saying the CDC said, well, we're vaccinated, we're going to wear masks. And they'll say, we're vaccinated or whatever, but then they'll give it to each other, but they're all not vaccinated, right? So that's the issue.
Yeah. Well, I want to tackle a little bit of what you were saying about they want to do this to try to get people to get more vaccinated. It's not going to work for everybody, but some people will. So, for instance, my boy Kevin, he was against getting vaccinated, right? And unfortunately, he got COVID from our house, right? Came over to watch a pay-per-view, and my daughter sat next to him. We didn't know. And this is my daughter that was fine, right? And so he ended up getting COVID. So literally that changed his perspective. And his mom is older. He was like, no, I don't want my mom to get it. When he got it, literally he was like, yeah, man, I think I want to get it now. I don't want to go through that again. I told my mom she needs to get it now. So now him and his mom, I never checked with him to see if they both got it, but he was planning on getting it. So people's perspectives change. So if the CDC, I mean, I guess if that's the tool they want to use to make people want to get vaccinated. I mean, obviously vaccination was supposed to be a good thing, right? Yes, there's people who are skeptics, like myself. I'd rather not take it, right, for my own reasons. But it's supposed to be a benefactor, right? So I guess if they, want to put it out there that like, hey, listen, you pretty much, I don't know if you want to use the word cured or, unable to, whatever you want to use. But even though it's not 100% effective, so that's kind of strange in itself, right?
Well, they say even if you do get it, you won't get as bad symptoms if you do get it if you're vaccinated. Yeah.
And then I even was listening to the news how they said they did tests that a person who had COVID They're actually antibodies is stronger than a person who got the vaccine. It's crazy, right?
That makes sense as well.
Yeah, yeah, because you had it, right? So you actually had
Yeah.
it, versus you had the watered down version in the vaccine to allow
Gotcha,
your body to, when you try to, it comes to you to
Right.
fight it. So,
Right.
but yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. You know, we
But
don't
what's
have
your,
to
I mean,
go.
you didn't kind of finish your thought or whatever. Do you think that's going to help make people get it more because they say they can't wear it? Like for you, like, okay, you say you don't want to get it. So them saying, yo, you got to wear a mask if you get it. It's not making you get it still.
Nah, I don't think we've been wearing masks for like a year and a half now. I don't think masks are that big a deal. But I have my own. So my reasons are so strong that I wouldn't like. The only way I would get the vaccine is if I had to. Like if you say, hey, where government mandated in the state you live in, you have to get the vaccine. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not the one to fight against what I can't fight against, right? I can't go against the government. I'm not into illegal stuff. So if I had to, then fine, get it. Whatever happens, happens. But for me, just being able to not wear a mask isn't strong enough for me. And then I also got COVID at one point in time, and I was asymptomatic. I had no symptoms. I was walking around fine, right? So I'd rather take my chances than get the vaccine. That's just me.
Yeah, well, I think it's people who I guess are still like against the mask, like woo, no mask, like,
Right,
but I'm like you. I think it's been so long now that people are so used to it. So I don't know how much of incentivizing
right.
that is. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
um, but I also think what I said, like if they're just saying if you don't got to wear it if you're vaccinated, if you just don't want to wear it, you're just gonna lie and walk in the store and say I'm vaccinated. Like why would you not? I feel like so. I think
Yeah.
like it's flawed, I guess. In the whole,
They will have to come out with tags or something, right? A lanyard or something. Like your doctors, maybe doctors will start get when you get the vaccine, you get you get a little ID card or something. They're gonna have to do that, and because people just lie. I got the vaccine, I'm cool, like you said.
Right. That's what I said. Walk into Walmart, the restaurant, or wherever. Like I think they're and I get it, right? They're trying to use people the moral compass of people, right? And say, okay, he's not going to walk in the store without a mask if he's not vaccinated, but he'll go get one to make sure he can go in without a mask.
Right.
But I think they're slightly mistaken that people will actually do that. So that's my whole thing. But yeah, so I get your thoughts. You got any comments or whatever? So,
Let's see. Let me see. I mean, I personally, I mean, that's it. Like, I went into depth before on here of how, raw I'm not going to get the vaccine. But I also think it's a morale thing. I think it's good for the people who, if it does good for people, then it's good for people,
I think just knowing it in people's mind. I think the thing I said is that line that they said is just lift the spirit, right? That we're getting closer. Even the fact our Regal's open, right? We talked about,
Yeah.
right? That's letting us know we're getting closer.
Yep.
And I don't know if you see it or not, but there are a lot of movies that are coming out that are only in theaters.
Yeah, it says
like,
only in theaters. Yeah, I like that.
right. So they're moving away from streaming stuff or whatever like that. So it definitely lets you know there's signs of improvement.
Yeah.
It's good. We just don't want to move too fast.
Yeah. And when I went to the movies on
Anyway.
Friday, the guys that worked there, we said, "How you guys feel?" They said, "Oh man, we're so happy we're back." The guys at the register. So that was cool, just for them, to see.
How was the and I don't want to go topic, but just because it's kind of on topic.
Mm-hmm.
How was the crowd as far as how many people?
Nah, it's pretty dead. Yeah, we might have been the only people and Saul's a bigger movie, right? And we went
on a Friday too, right?
Yeah, on a Friday, the day it came out. But I think that's because Regal just opened. AMC would have had a bigger crowd because we've been going to AMC, and AMC was slowly but surely getting more people. It was still like when people say, "Oh, I don't want to go to the theater." Like the theater's like this. I keep saying the theater's like the safest place. I go out to eat, right? We went to Cheesecake Factory yesterday, right? Dude, it's crowded. You go to movie theaters, it's not crowded at all. As long as COVID been out, I've probably seen 20 movies, if not more. Never crowded, ever. We went to the one that was sold out, so we couldn't go in. But sold out was back when it was like 25% capacity.
Right. Gosh. Okay. Wondering how it was going. All right, so I got another one for you. And am I gonna think of this, or maybe not? I don't know. But and I gotta think of it myself. Whatever. But what would you say? What achievement are you most proud of in your life so far?
You know what? Growing up in Trenton and growing up with I guess growing up where I grew up, I guess I'm proud of who I became. In a weird way to say, I knew a lot of knuckleheads, you know, and I was cool with a lot of knuckleheads. And I've seen a lot of people just not amount to anything. And I've seen people who are doing good, right? I'm not going to say they're not doing good, but their mindset is there is a certain way of thinking when I was younger, and so I'm kind of happy that I broke I broke my own train of thought. Like I used to think a certain way, even when I was in my 30s, and at some point, I guess when I started going to church, it kind of helped me in a little bit.
Hold on. What's this? What certain way? Do you think that? What way is that?
I think I was a bit ghetto.
Okay,
I
all
was a
right.
bit, you know what I'm saying? Like I was definitely like you know, just a lot, you know, a lot. I had a lot of ghetto vibes. You know, you could tell I was a kid that grew up in Trenton, you know. And that's why I'm so anti ghetto stuff, right? When people say like, "Oh, when I grew up in Trenton, everything was, oh, I got to move out," right? But then I know all these people would move out, move to Willingboro, and then Willingboro kind of like the joke would be they turn into New Trenton, right? So it's like you take the person out the ghetto, can't take the ghetto out the person. So I've always thought of that, and I'm happy that for the most part, I feel like I broke that. Like I watch movies sometimes, or I watch a show, or I watch like a TikTok video, and you have some person screaming and cursing and acting crazy, and I could just remember at one point in time I used to scream and curse and act crazy, you know. So I feel like one of my biggest accomplishment is my mentality, because I feel like that's really what's going to help us out in life, right? Help us when you meet people, help us when you want to go further, help us when you want to start a business, just a lot of things. Your mentality can make or break you, and I'm just happy that I don't have a certain mentality that I used to, you know, personally.
So, would you say that kind of was a switch that happened, or was it over time? I guess.
And that was over time. I think
Like,
my old pastor challenged me to be better, challenged me to do better.
okay,
Like you know, like so that was the first church I actually well. I went to church when I lived in Florida, but I was just a young kid. I was alone. I met the guy who I was working for. He's like, "Oh, come to my church." I went for a couple weeks. So I don't count that, but like I was actually a part of this and did stuff in the church. And so my pastor, he challenged me not to be spiritual, but he also challenged me to be a better person. Right? He was always, I mean, in a way, it was real forceful, but it was a challenge, right? And so I like, you know, I like a challenge. Like I was telling my daughter the other day, she was getting mad because I was telling her like, "Yo, what's up with your schoolwork?" She's like, "That doesn't make me want to do any better." I'm like, "It's two types." I always told my older kids. I told my older kids. I used to always say to them, "It's two type of people. It's type A, you know, you tell them they can't do something, they're gonna prove that they can. Type B, tell them they can't do something, they're just gonna be like, all right, then I can't." And I feel bad for the type B people, you know. So for me, I was challenged to like, you know, clean up myself a little bit in his eyes, right? Some people might be like, you didn't have to do that, but I felt I wanted to. So then I went. I'm a radical, right? I'm either here or I'm here, right? So if I'm into something, I'm all the way. So that's cool. I like the fact that I broke my thought process. I broke the person who I was, and who I probably would have just been, you know.
okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's not I thought you would go with it, but
Yeah.
you might have been, making 1,000 subscribers. No, I'm joking, but that's
Mhm.
cool.
Now you know what's cool though is we never know what each of us are going to say, right? We in our mind we
Right.
might have a question and think it's going one way and have no clue. Plus, I think it all depends on how you're feeling that day, right? I don't know. I mean, could I have said, "Oh man, my YouTube channel becoming getting 1,000 subscribers could be my biggest accomplishment"? Could I said my kids? You know, we can say anything, right? But it all depends on that moment when somebody asks you, and you know, that's what was on my mind at the time, and that's how I feel, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's good. I mean, just because I relate to you, obviously, growing up in
yeah,
the same place and
yeah.
stuff like that,
And
and you know,
and I just want to throw
but
this out there. When I first met you, say, "Hey, check out my podcast." I said the story before. I was like, "Man, I hope it ain't no crazy ghetto podcast." And I really liked you even more when I watched your
right,
podcast. I said, "Man, it's three articulate black guys, right? They
right,
got common sense. They're tackling hard topics, relationships, you name it, and they articulating themselves to each other really well." And that to me was like, man, that's pretty cool. And then you stood out to me out of everybody because I just loved um your opinions and your thought process, I always admired it. I was like, I like the way he thinks, you know. So you know, I look at
Right.
it like he grew up where I grew up, right? But he's you know, I personally admire the person you are. So you know,
Well, I appreciate that, and of course, thank you as always,
yeah,
sir.
man.
But you just became the segue prince, I guess, because that was my answer. I guess mine would be being able to do podcasts and being
Nice.
able to do them regularly and stuff like that. Long story short, like I never knew what I wanted to do when I grew up and whatnot as a kid. Like people would ask me sometimes, and I'll come with a generic answer just because I was a kid, but I
Mm-hmm.
never knew. And even in high school, like I never knew what I wanted to do. Like I knew I wasn't a kid like I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a baseball player, whatever the hell, stuff like that. And as I got older, just listening to at the time there were no podcasts, obviously, but it was a lot of talk radio, and everybody listened to music and stuff like that. And I would listen to talk radio all day, like sports talk radio or hip hop talk radio or whatever. That was
Right.
just my thing. And I said, you know what? That's what I want to do. Stuff like that. Like I like this and whatnot. And I never did get a chance to do it. And then podcasts came out, right? So you can do it on your own without being hired from a radio station. And you can create your own talk
Yeah.
atmosphere and stuff like that. And that was the best thing that could have happened to
Yeah.
me. And then, straddling the fence with that. I'm like, how do I do it? Where do I start for many years and stuff like that? And what I want to talk about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like that. And then meeting, not meeting, I already knew Josh, but talking to Josh and knowing that he had one going game and kind of like just forcing my way on to with him and whatnot. So listen, I know what I'm doing. I'm good. I can do it. Then I did it. He was like, "Yo, listen, you are great. I want to do something with you." And then expanding into stuff with you and
Yeah.
sports shows and movie reviews and everything else on our Big Mike.LittleAnt channel. Please subscribe. So I will say that being able to do that and then now expanding into video and things of that nature, I think that for me is wonderful because not knowing what I wanted to do and then kind of figuring it out and then being able to do it and bring my voice to the world where it's now, it's everywhere now. You can see it,
Yeah.
whether it's on Spotify or Radio or Radio or YouTube or Facebook and stuff like that. I think even if I stopped today and couldn't do it anymore because let's say I lost my voice, I will be satisfied because I got a chance to do it, and it's there for you to go back and watch for the end of time.
Yeah, that's pretty epic. Just this morning, I take all of our content and I back it up on external hard drive. So I was backing up all of your. I always do this to myself. I take like months to do it, so then it takes me like an hour because I got so much. But I was backing up all of your a bunch of your sports shows. I back those up too. So if YouTube
Right.
ever whatever, all of our content is being backed up. All of our recorded content, or all of the recorded stuff that I edit. So that's kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
look who's in the building. Josh is in the building. And he was the guy that kind of challenged me to do more when you invited me to come on the show. And Josh was like, "Dude, you got so much content. Like, how are you not making your thing monetized or whatever?" I was like, "It's just a hobby." And that train of thought made me say, "You know what? Maybe I should." And so that was kind of cool. So it's cool to see him in the building. And
Yeah.
yes, he said
What's up,
knuckleheads.
Josh?
He said knuckleheads that use K in content. Yep, just like Mortal Kombat. But look, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah, which wasn't a good movie, but we talked about that earlier. So
Yeah.
anyway, speaking of that, did you ever watch the? We don't go back to our show, but ever watch the Michael B. Jordan movie Without Remorse?
I
I
still
did want
didn't
to
see
watch it.
that, man. And every time I talk to somebody, they're like, "Oh, did you see that yet?" I'm like, "No."
Oh, okay. When you do, since I watched it, I'm not gonna say anything at all right now.
Okay.
We can definitely do like a small review about it.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I'm gonna try to cut the grass if it don't rain, because I think it might. But maybe I might watch that today.
There you go. There you go. All right, so you're up next, bro.
Yes, sir. So, Mike, I got a couple of choices for you. What is the one thing you can't live without? You ready?
Yep.
Watching programs. So that include movies, TV shows, going to the movies, playing video games. Right? I gotta answer it too, so I know you'll be like, whatever.
Okay.
Sex, and eating the type of foods you like. So meaning you have a choice to eat what you want. So if you don't choose that, then that means somebody would literally say, "Hey, this is what you're eating today." And you might not like it,
I had
but
a similar question for you a while ago, but I think we didn't have that show, so
okay.
I didn't ask it. But It's interesting. But those are four. That's it.
Yeah, you want me to read them again?
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
watching programs, playing video games, sex, eating the type of food you like. You can elaborate and go down.
How about I do them in order and whatnot, which
Okay.
should be better. So, of course, I can go without video games, forever in a day and be fine with that.
Okay.
Even though if I went to an actual arcade, that would be pretty hard because I go to an arcade like how they still got them in like the boardwalks.
Yeah.
Always play video games or whatever like that.
Okay.
I was always a fan. I told you, like, I know you weren't that, but I was a fan of arcade video games. Like when they had Borders over in Barstow, we were growing up, stuff like that, or Borders or whatever. Like I was always a
Now I was a fan too. I just was not good in fighting games. I wasn't good with the stick joysticks. But yeah, I used to be diehard in the arcades back in the day. I was
all the pizza shops or whatever
yeah,
had them.
Gordon's
like
down the street, in Trenton, where I lived at in West Trenton, down the hill at the DeVito's. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So but video games I go without.
Okay.
The next would man, I would go without my favorite food probably.
Okay.
Next or whatever. I can eat. I mean, like let's say if you're on a diet, right? You're gonna eat something you don't like probably anyway.
Right.
So I just have to go without my favorite. I'm gonna still be nourished. I'm not gonna die, so I'll be fine.
Okay.
I think then I would go without the movies and TV shows. Then sex would be the last one I would.
Okay. So so your answer is sex.
Answer is sex. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha. What's crazy, man, that we having this? I was telling my wife yesterday that growing up in Trenton, it was like real sexual. You was a young kid and everybody was talking about sex. So I feel like had I have grown up somewhere else, maybe sex wouldn't be that big of a deal to me. But it is a big deal. Like it's definitely like high up there. I'm like even I'll bring up my ex-wife. Sex was not a big end all be all for her. I know some women where it is. Some women was like, Some guys was like, whatever. But I just think where I grew up and my friends and all this stuff, it was such a big thing. So let me answer the question. Woo! So yeah, I'm glad you broke down the dieting thing because I was like, man, that's rough. But you're right. I did the intermittent fasting for like a year, and so just the fact that I wasn't even eating certain things at a certain time, even though I could eat whatever I want, but then I had to get into certain teas and use certain sugar that I didn't like, right? So I could definitely do that. However, my taste buds is really weird, so I don't eat everything. So that would be a little bit hard. I have to put that out there. Like I don't even like the taste of meat, so I guess I'll be eating a lot of salads or something. It depends on what somebody say. Like oh, you can't eat this, but I'll be like, well, I don't like that, and then I guess they'll have to give me a substitute of something that's on their menu that I have to eat.
Yeah, real quick before you get to that, like, don't throw my thing out there. Like, I've done plenty of diets, but my ex-wife, when I was with her, she was going through some stomach issues, or at least she thought she was. I don't know, but either way, she needed to go, decided to go gluten free, and gluten free, and then gluten free and dairy free, and whatnot. So, and this is years ago. Now today, like a lot of different things, you'll find more gluten-free options on menus, stuff like that, or in supermarkets. But at that time, it was still kind of new, or whatever like that. But that's what she wanted to do, or whatever like that, because she felt like that would improve her stomach quality. Now, me being in a household with someone, the one thing for me is that I found like the house runs better when it's one house, stuff like that.
Okay.
So
you mean like everybody on the same page, pretty much?
Right. Especially like just trying to go out to eat and things of that nature and whatnot. So I found that instead of shopping for several different things, we just shopping for one thing or whatever like that. Or if I'm going to the store, I get a whole gluten-free pizza for us rather than get that for you and this for me, or whatever like that.
Right.
Blah, blah. So anyway, long story short, I eventually did gluten-free. I did gluten-free and dairy-free for a little over a year and whatnot. So, and me being me, I mean, obviously it wasn't what I wanted to eat, like you're saying, or whatever, but I want to make sure we were good. Me being me, I'm the king of research, or whatever. So I wanted to finding, so I wanted to finding gluten-free bakeries, bro. Like,
oh wow, you was like, listen, this ain't my thing, but I'll make it work.
I'll make it work. Right, that's my point I'm here. So I'll make it work, whatever like that. And obviously, the pie didn't taste like a regular pie, right? But it was close enough to where I can like make it work for people like
Right.
that. So I said it to say I give up something like you said because I just know I can and be fine because I've done it before.
Yeah. Yeah.
But go ahead, you continue.
Yeah, so foods I definitely could, I'll figure that out. When we go out to eat, sometimes saying like, where you want to go? I'm like, I'll find something, right? Like I'll find something. So yeah, um, man, I love to watch programs, but I like video games more. Um, so
I thought so.
I'll go without the programs. Yeah, that's like even it's been hard for me. We got mental theater, and then I've been doing that thing with that guy, and he lives 5 hours away because he's in the UK, and so I was accommodating him a little bit by doing it a little bit later, and we are trying to meet, and it's like, man, I want to talk about movies, but I also want to talk about video games. But video games, if I have to choose, so that's why I missed mental theater a couple times because I had to choose, and I'm like, dude, I love video games. I can't help it. So yeah, so I'll go without the food, or whatever. Somebody can choose my food for me. I'll watch your programs. It is what it is. I'm with you, man, with the sex thing. I told my wife, sex is a form of entertainment. It could be playing a video game. It could be going to the movies. It's literally a form of entertainment in a relationship. And I feel like it makes us closer. Um, yeah, I couldn't. I'm only 45 years old. I can't go without sex. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's funny. My question for you was once no sex for a year or no video games for a year. Which one would you do? So similar to this kind of.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was able to answer that.
But you know what though? In that sense, I probably would go with no. No, maybe not. I don't know. If I know it's just a year and I'll get it eventually, it might be a challenge to go that long without sex for a year.
Every time no video games for a year.
Well, that too. I always don't know which one I'll be able to do. Yeah, I have to think hard about that. But
well, for you, you know what I think also video games is harder for you now because it's linked so much to your content.
Yeah, that's
right?
the crazy thing. Like, if you look at this thing behind me, so much of the shows is video games.
Right.
And I mean, and I'm so much a part of that. I'm a part of other people's stuff. The shows I do with other people. That would be a big part of my life. That'd be gone on a weekly basis. I put probably 20 hours, bro, into video game. Whether I'm watching, like you said, researching, whether I'm watching other people, whether I got to go to their stream to put their stream and schedule them, and yeah, like it's a big part of my life, and not even just playing it, which is crazy.
Yeah, so that'd be like that for you. I think be bigger than another person giving up video games.
Yeah,
whatever. Because all that stuff.
Like, and real quick, I don't even play as much video games as people would think. I'm more into what's going on in gaming than playing as much as I would like to. Like when we get off, if it rains, I'm gonna play some. I feel like, yo, I gotta play some games today, man. I want to play jump on Marvel Avengers. They got this new event going on called the Red Room. It has to do with Black Widow. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think also you might be, I'm sure you probably like as far as playing. I think you play and beat stuff a lot of times quick. But maybe when you were a kid, you probably had several games where you play at one time.
Right.
I don't think you do that as much anymore.
Right.
And whatnot as an adult. All right, move on. What's my next topic here?
It's your last one. We're getting through this today.
One. Yeah. So this is one I had for many weeks, actually, probably like 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
And courtesy of my kid, actually, and she found this one, and she said, if you could see your entire relationship, right? Like, so you saw everything, right? Breaking down the ins and outs, the arguments, the ups and downs, the breakups, the makeups, the problems, the great times, the kids that you had, all of it, up until the point where it's at now. You can see it, like, as you're sitting at your kitchen table before you meet the girl, before you go on the first date. But there's your woman right now, and you saw everything. Would you still go on that first date?
Ooh, that's pretty interesting. Well, here's what's cool. Up until that time, I would have obviously had all the regular relationships I had, And so I got to
Right.
that point and been able to see the vision of everything laid out. And we've definitely had, like, we broke up a total of 3 times. Each time was short though. We longest time was we was broken up for 2 weeks. Shorter time was a couple hours. But each I always say that made our relationship stronger. Like we learned from each incident, and it just made it stronger. Yeah, definitely. I would definitely still take the relationship I'm in now. I'm truly happy. I truly feel like I was cutting the grass today thinking about my wife, right? And I was thinking like some of the stuff we're into, I never met a girl who's into, right? So we're into this together. Some like the person she is captivates me sometimes because I never met another woman that connects with me that much, right? I never met another woman that agrees with me that much. I never met another woman that have similarities with me that much. So like I always the thing I like to say in relationships is chemistry is key, but similarities is very important, right? It's the difference between on a Friday night you're mad or with each other because you want to do something and they want to do something. We do so much together. Even when I do stuff on my own, we do like sometimes it's hard for me to do stuff with other people because I just don't have the care. I'm satisfied at home. But yeah, I was still knowing everything, good and bad. I would still be with her.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got a question, but I got a second question to
Whatever.
this question. But then but I want to piggyback on something that you said just now. Because what I love about our show is that we answer questions and it brings up more questions.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're like pulling teeth. Like
Right,
I'm
right,
trying to
right.
get to that tooth, but a couple are in my way, so I gotta pull them too.
Right. So I love that. So you said chemistry is cool, but similarities are key. You
Right.
feel like whatnot. Now let me ask you a question. Do you feel like it has to be similarities or more the other person's willingness to try or do the activity that
Yeah.
you're into or
Yeah,
whatever
that's
like
that's
that?
key. Because when I met Sandy, she didn't watch wrestling, right? She got into wrestling
Right.
because I was into wrestling. She want like some women or guys. They're like I know guys is like I'll never watch a Lifetime show. I'm like, bro, Lifetime show is actually kind of good. No, I'll never. Right? My girl watched that alone. You know, there's women that are like wrestling, what, or even sports, right? You know, so
Right.
or even video games. So yes, you make a good point. If a person have that willingness to at least be like Sandy doesn't play games with me all the time, right? We have a
Right.
few times where we play together. We have specific things we like together, right? But she has the open mind that says like you can like what you like and I'll be interested in what you like, but it's your thing, right? I love that. There's people that's just like oh here you go again and they walk in the other room, right? That's key. So
Right.
what you
Right.
said is key, and I'm glad you brought that up because yes, that's important. So I'm not just saying I don't want people to hear that like oh man if the person don't like what I like, our relationship is doomed. No, not at all. But what Mike said is important is if they have the willingness to eat, and I'm not even going that far, the willingness to be a part of it, just to be attentive that that's something you like, because there's a difference, right? Some people just
Yeah, I agree.
don't dislike what you like, and it bothers them that you're oh here you go again playing your video games. Here you go again, your friends calling you, right? I had a lot of relationships in the past like that. The girls just was jealous of the time I spent with my friends, and it just made like I could go out with my friends, I come home and she's mad at me, like yo, I got a life. But my wife now would be like, oh yeah, have fun with your friends. That she don't have to be a part of it, right? There's times where she want to hang out with me and my friends, right? So yes, what you said is key, very important.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I think it's that oneness of like, even small things going to the movies,
Yep.
right? Or person like, man, I ain't watching that. Or they're like, you know what? Well, if you're going, I'll go with you and stuff like that.
Yes.
Maybe it's not their favorite type or their favorite genre,
Yeah.
or maybe it's not whatever they do.
But
But if they're willing to go with you, it's a difference.
yeah, and then just to spell out, even if they don't want to go, but they don't have hard feelings, like the difference between that ain't my
Yes,
type of
yes,
movie, and then you have resentment, right? I know some people like,
yeah,
oh, my wife will never watch that, and you could tell they're pissed off about it, right? But it could be the person like, oh man, that's my thing, but yo, tell me about it. You could go see it, and they still enthusiastic for you, but it's just not their thing. That's
correct.
that's very important.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and then just to piggyback off, but just to expand the question,
Yeah,
and I'll answer these questions too. Um, if for any relationship, if you had that same crystal ball, right, and you can see the whole relationship to
right,
its
right.
end and whatnot before it happened, would you still go on all the first dates, or some you wouldn't go on at this? Now that you know how
You
it
know
ended
what?
up.
That's a great question. So when I met my kid, everybody said if you had a time machine, what would you do? I always say I wouldn't get married. It was like, dude, then you probably won't have kids. Then I probably won't have kids. But I would have never went through all the stuff I went through. I was so young. Uh, I I don't know what my life would have been, but I always would want to know what would happen if I didn't get married at the age of 18. But when I met her, it was like magic. She was one of the things in my whole life that I wanted so bad, and I got it. The feeling of wanting, it's like wanting to win the lottery, right? And it's just not you. It's not gonna. You just feel like it's a very small chance. The day I seen her, I was like blown off my feet, right? Seen her walking down the street, and I would have never thought I could have got with her. I would have never thought what would have happened. So my kid's mom, like I was so into her. Like the moment I seen her, I was like, it was crazy. So that, I mean, I was young too, but the feeling I had, and then I actually got with her, it was like magical. So that's a hard question because that relationship was so toxic that, you know, but it's like, but that feeling I had of me actually getting with her, and when I first seen her, it was just like I ran to my friend's house, like, yo, I seen this girl. Telling us like, oh, like it was small, it was West Trent, like we never seen her before. You usually know everybody, right? And yeah, so, but I think on the other end, all the drama, all the craziness, getting married at a young age, that whole little Disney fantasy I had when I first seen her and wanted to be with her or wanted to meet her or know her, I still had to throw it out the window. Nah.
So you wouldn't go on the first date if you could see it, if you saw the future, or whatever you see.
Well, are you saying that? I mean, if I could just only do the first date, but I'm thinking you're saying if you do the no, I'm thinking you're saying like you would go on the first date and that would spawn into everything that happened.
Correct.
Yeah,
exactly.
then I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's hard
Anybody
though.
else or just her?
Yeah, it's hard.
Anybody else or just her? That you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, knowing what I know, the relationships I had just didn't work. So what's the point, right? Like, when I was with
Well,
my,
you have a good one, or you learn from it, or you had a buddy that had a great time, but it ended. So would you still go on a date and had a relationship, even though you know it's going to end, stuff like that? I guess kind of like.
oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Like, I could, no, because I think a lot of my relationships ended bad, and
Okay.
I feel like,
well, that makes sense.
yeah, the ending was still a bad ending, and like, and it dragged, and I always feel bad for the women I date because they'll be like they feel like I ruined their life. They hate me, and then I'm good. I got a new relationship. I'm all right. And they're like, my kid's mom, she felt for the longest time like, oh, your life is fine. Look at me. I'm like, ain't nobody tell you to live your life the way you did. Like we were two people that came together, separated, went our own ways. You could have turned out good. Why didn't you? But she always blamed me, like, oh, you ruined my life. So yeah, I feel like just because I feel like the way it ended, I wouldn't want that person to feel what they felt, because of us being together. What's the point of dragging them through that? I know how it's gonna end. We might have had a cool first. All right, here, let me say this. Let me think about a first date. Right? Was any of the first date that great that I would want to relive that bad? And the answer is only my kid's mom because I was so infatuated with her. My three kids' mom. So, but again,
I guess the question is more so, was any of the beginning of the relationship that great that it would that it would supersede the endings?
Okay,
right?
Cool. Yeah, that's a good way to define it because you're saying first date. I'm like, why the hell would I deal with a first date? But yeah, if you think of like maybe the first 50% of relationship was great and the last 50% was bad. I think what's cool is all of what we went into about chemistry and a person and blah blah blah. At the end of the day, none of the girls I ever dated, which is cool, I can say this with my wife now, it makes me look back, and none of them compared to what we have. Like, so I wouldn't even go through it again because knowing what I have now and knowing what those relationships turned into, the first beginning that was good, it just wasn't good enough. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Just got a message from Peacock about us getting back.
Oh, nice. Well, hold on. Let me think real quick. I did date this girl in Florida. I will say this. I always said she was one of the nicest girls, and what we had was amazing. And I broke up with her because I thought it made sense to try to work things out with my kid's mom. Hey, my kids, I got kids with her. So I literally broke up with her made an excuse to break up with her, and then got back with my kid's mom, moved her to Florida. But I will say this. And there was like no issues. She was a great girl. Yeah, her. If I had to, yeah. And the relationship was short, so we wasn't together for a long, long time. So it was perfect for what it was.
Okay. So she's one you didn't ruin her life. I guess she said.
Yeah. She was still a little mad at me too, but.
But anyway,
yeah, I don't think there was ever a girl that I broke up with that wasn't mad at me.
Okay, that's hilarious. I'm so opposite of you, by the way. So, but anyway, so as far as the would you go on the first date? I would definitely still go on the first date now.
Okay.
With my current woman, my kid. We talked about this already, anyway. So she couldn't wait for the show. Answer. So I told her, yeah, let's go on the first date. And as far as my previous relationships, I'm opposite. Okay. I don't really have bad endings and whatnot. Okay. I don't have knockdown dragouts and whatnot. I more have kind of mutual agreements or whatever, stuff like that. Like, it's just not really working out. And, they all still, over years have tried to contact or want to be friends, yada, yada, yada. So I don't really have it or whatever. So, but there's one. There's always one or whatever. I definitely wouldn't go on a first date because it just wasn't a great time for me. Okay. Like you said, kind of what you're saying. Like the good didn't supersede the bad, and the bad was so bad that the good wasn't good enough to take it over and stuff like that. Another situation, I would still go because I still enjoyed it, and I had a, whatever. It might see. My problem is that the bad was the bad, right? Like in those situations, the bad came, and it was like, all right, I'm done. So I didn't ever get a lot of bad. I got like one bad or whatever like that. Wow. So, and it was a lot of good. But and again, like it wasn't like I never had like these knockdown drag outs, except for probably the only one was my daughter's mother. But and even though I did definitely have more bad than good with her, but I couldn't take away my daughter. I love my daughter. Right. So I would keep that because my daughter has, even her being a kid has taught me things over the years. You know what I'm saying? Cool. So I will definitely keep that. So yeah, only there's always one that I would say, I wouldn't go on the first date just to kind of avoid all of it and whatnot. But yeah, I'm kind of opposite of you. Okay. Nobody tells me everyone their life. So, yeah, man. A little different. What's your last one, bro?
Well, let me get in the comments, man. You got some people jumped in here. Andy Morph is in the building. Guys, want to give a shout out to Andy Morph. He's a big time YouTube personality, and yesterday was cool. I do a show with this guy named Duncan, and Andy Morph was a guest on there because we've been trash talking to each other. And I called him out. I said, bro, you talking all this smack. Why don't you jump on the show right now? He's like, what? I was like, yeah, here's an invite. And he jumped on the show, and we had a great show. So I want to say thank you to Andy Morph for jumping in. And it's crazy because Andy Morph really don't watch, like, my content. So to have him watching this is cool, but obviously we broke some ground yesterday by kind of mutually knowing who each other was. I knew who he was. He didn't really know who I was. But I'm getting a lot of ground into the community, so kind of everybody know who I am now. Suckers. But anyway, Andy, thanks for jumping in. Guys, you can answer these questions too if you want. You could let us know. Matthias Thompson, yo. So Matthias is my best friend in the world. He moved to Arkansas, and I miss this guy so much. And that's just crazy that he's watching. He's the guy that texted me and said U.S. Soldier was the guy's name. He's the super comic. Okay. If I got a question about comic books, I'm calling him, and he knows. Gotcha. Yeah, he knows. Okay. Yeah, he knows.
Okay.
And then Matthias said the butterfly effect. Definitely, that's pretty much it. The butterfly effect is what we're talking about, pretty much, right? And then Alexa is in the building. What's up, man? He said I was thinking that, Matthias. And Mikeia, she said I would definitely go on the first date as well, Big Mike. Oh, you guys.
All right. So you're up, bro.
Yes, sir. This is the last one, and then we go into our versus questions and book of questions. All right. So describe the perfect date for you and your lady if money wasn't an issue.
Wow, that's a good one, actually.
And you guys in the comments, you can answer this too.
So I would definitely make it a few activities, I
Okay.
guess, more than just one, obviously, because money is not an object. I think that first of all, I would have a car with a driver or whatever, a nice car. Because I think, not like let me say nothing like that, but it's a nice car that we got a driver or something like that. That way we can go to all these places and we can kind of enjoy each other without having to worry about the driving aspect or whatever. That's number one or whatever. Um, and that's it. And it's just a date, right? So we're not gonna make it elaborate like we're going to freaking California for the day or something like that. It's just a date. So I will probably
But Mike, money isn't an issue. Just saying.
oh, okay. All right, well, then that's different then. Okay, so I would get the car and then have the car take us to the private jet, whatever, right? Because then money is not an issue.
Yeah, that's
So then the private jet would then take us on to a like a secluded island somewhere and whatnot. When we get to the island, then we would have people who are already ready to serve us stuff like that or whatever, and we would have this beautiful resort room looking with an ocean view, stuff like that or whatever. And then come out to a private dinner of ours, little candlelit, stuff like that, and all of our favorite foods, buffet style. We can get whatever we want, except for whatever we want. Music in the background, enjoying each other, just talking and enjoying it all, stuff like that. And then that would probably end with a walk on the beach or whatever, and but no, that actually would be still daytime. We would then take that. From there, we would go on a boat, actually, a yacht, and enjoy that little tour
right.
or whatever on the yacht. And then it would come back and dock, and then it would end with a walk with the beach, look at the stars or something like that, together. And I probably would have paid for like some fireworks or something like that,
Right.
little personalized fireworks show or whatever like that, something like that off the top of my head. I would say no money being out.
That's awesome, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Mine's would be similar to yours. My wife and I, we love the beach. We're beach people. I know you said you love it too. We would we never we when we was planning our honeymoon, we wanted to go to Hawaii, but we ended up settling for Mexico because Hawaii was just maybe like $2,000 more. Right? It was just like, man, it's just too
Because of the
expensive.
flight.
Huh?
Yeah. The flight so much to
Yeah,
go
it's
there.
like it's like and the package too, right? So
Yeah.
so but if money wasn't an object, and I love that you said a private jet, yeah, we would go to a private jet. The vehicle didn't matter, but I guess we'll make the vehicle really nice, right? So we'll go early in the morning, right? Matter of fact, we might go like um at midnight, right? It starts the day, right? So we start off at midnight, go to the airport, get on a private jet, fly out to Hawaii, and I have no clue how long it takes to get to Hawaii. But if we left at midnight, so
Yeah.
we'll get there, go to sleep, wake up early in the morning, and do like excursions, right? We love jet skis. That was one of our favorite things to do. We'll rent some jet
Okay.
skis, go out into the ocean, ride around. I'm sure they probably got little islands out there. We go to a private island, dock our boat or jet skis, swim for a little bit, hang out. When we went to wow, mixing up women. My bad. I was thinking about my
Wow.
honeymoon when I went to Jamaica. They had this thing called it was like a private island, a swim up bar. Actually, it was a nude island too, which is funny. But
That
any
was question number 2.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I'm just painting this picture. If the island had a little swim up
Right.
bar, you could just go. We jet ski out to the island, hang out at the island, eat some food, relax, swim, then come back, have a really awesome dinner, and then relax for a little bit. Eat ice cream, right? After we relax for a bit, um, I guess maybe yeah. I mean, we love excursions, but the speed, we only got but so much time for a whole day, right? That'd be a date. I'm
Right.
trying to think how to end it off. Um, You know what? What we love doing. Let's say it gets a little dark. We'll get in a hot tub, right, and just chill and relax in the hot tub / pool, and then yeah, and then we start heading home. That would,
Okay.
you know.
Gotcha. Hey, it sounds like a dope situation. Money that I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
So if I had the lottery, you know where I'll be.
Yeah, right. Well, you just said a private island, so I really don't know where you're gonna be, but I know where you're going.
That's true.
Yeah.
I know where I'm going. Yeah.
He's somewhere out there.
Yeah, don't worry. I give you a little bit of money.
Got you.
All right, bro. All right, so look at questions, man.
Look at questions. All right, so let me just see if anybody have any comments. Let's see. My kid said everything Mike said, but throw in a couple's massage under the stars. Nice. My kid, I'm a weird guy. I don't like massages. Isn't that crazy? Like my ex-wife had a license for Swedish therapeutic massage. Never got a massage. She had a table and everything. Just not. I don't know. I like.
Have you ever tried one and got
it? I did. My buddy Matt, he met this chick. We used to go to Bally's. He used to talk to this chick that worked at Bally's, and she did the massages. And she was like, "I'll give you a massage for free." I was like, "Yo, it's just not my thing." She gave me a massage. I'm like, I don't know. It just doesn't do nothing for me. I'm all right. Hear me out. I like a back rub or scratch my back being scratched. Like that stuff is soothing. But the deep tissue and I'm like, yo, man, if you don't get off of me, I don't know. Yeah.
Everybody's different, bro.
Yeah. All right, Mike. So you know how this go, brother. Pick a number from 1 to 217.
You know what? I never picked 1.
Wow. Okay. Number 1?
Yeah.
All right, guys, if you want to answer these questions, you can as well. Mike is going to pick number 1. Wow. Okay.
Anybody ever pick 1? Nobody picks 1 of them.
Yeah, I don't. Well, let me read it. Yeah, I don't remember the last time somebody picked 1. All right, for a person you love deeply, okay? Would you be willing to move to a distant country knowing there would be little chance of seeing your friends or family again?
Yeah, that's like the plot, like every romantic movie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can build up new relationships and new friends, especially and stuff like that. Them, but you know, it's hard. But I mean, with technology now, it's a little different. You know,
the COVID changed a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I would do it. The technology now, and you know, I'm not that person who feels like everyone is the same, right? So I think you're not gonna. Sometimes, like you were saying, right? It's probably hard for you to find that again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I'm not gonna lie, man. When I think about my relationship, now, don't get me wrong. I think I'm a little jaded to a point where, look, if things ain't working out, bro, I'll start over tomorrow. But I'm not gonna be stupid and not realize that I'll be losing a lot, right? But it doesn't pigeonhole me to be like, if stuff I didn't want to tolerate, it's not gonna make me tolerate it, right? But yeah, man, I in my whole life, all the women I met, even the girl from back in the day, I mean, we was young. Nothing compares to what I have now, right? So I just feel like, even our goals and stuff we want to do. We were talking to our buddy yesterday, and we were talking about like when we move to Florida, what we want to do, business and stuff like that. He's like, "What?" And I'm like, "We're both on the same page with crazy stuff, with good stuff, with food, with it works." So yeah. So yeah, if I had to move to, I always say I'd move to Australia. Listen. Now here's the hard thing, Mike. You'll be moving from your kids. You might not see them again. So you have to remember that.
That's the tough part.
You have to remember that.
Your situation is a little different than mine because most of your kids are adults. You got one, and she's
right,
almost been an adult in 2 years or whatever like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So yeah, I have a lot of years. So if it was today, probably not, because I feel like the guidance necessary enough for me to be there and whatnot. But if I was in your situation, I think it would change.
See that again? That's that pulling teeth because that changed your answer.
Right.
Yeah. Because in my head, we were just talking about your daughter. So when you was like, I guess, I was thinking like, I wonder if his daughter coming to his mind. I bet he didn't even think about that.
Right. I wasn't thinking about that at all. But yeah, no. But especially, I mean, yeah, I just want to be there for that type of guy.
All right, so I got to do it to you. So your girl is moving to Australia. I like Australia, so I'm always gonna say Australia. Your girl's moving to Australia. You could come. You know, you'll be set up and everything over there. However, she could only bring you, and you'll be gone for she can't come back for like 25 years. Now you could do Skype, you could do Zoom or whatever, but you wouldn't be
25
there.
years?
You wouldn't be there to raise your kids. They'll be adults by the time you're ever able to come back. Now you have to choose either I'm gonna go, you know, with my woman, or I'm gonna have to see her on Zoom for 25 years. But I'm gonna be here to raise my kids.
That's tough. But um, you know what would be tough, honestly, is the moments where your kid, like, because the kids are kids, right? They have this innocent factor about them or whatnot, and they still need us or whatever like that. So the moments where they are Skyping you and they're like, "I really miss you. I wish I could touch you.
Right,
Blah,
right.
blah blah." That's gonna be like tear jerking type of deal and stuff like that, or like, "I need you" and whatnot,
Right.
this and that or whatever. So I feel like I might make the decision, but I might wind up regretting it if I had those things happen to me.
Gotcha.
So that's how I kind of look at it like that. Because even when I look at myself, right, I moved to Florida, as you know, or whatever, years ago, and my daughter was still here in Jersey with her mother and stuff like that. And just within like a few months or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I started to really, really miss her and things like that. And I remember I found myself like on the back and forth train all the time, whatnot. You know what I mean? Like I want to miss her birthday or
Right.
whatever, school event or things like that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I think that like it's just a pull that you have with your kids and stuff like that sometimes.
Now,
make it a little bit tougher.
Now here's what's crazy. Our similarity is crazy. I moved to Florida years ago and left my kids back here. And and the girl that I said I was so into had no issues. I broke up with her because I wanted to get back with my kids' mom so I could have my kids in my life and move them down here. So, you know, but again, that was in 99. This is in 2021. Those 3 kids are adults. I got one daughter who just turned 15. Man, she's 15. She'll be 18 in 3 years. I'm out. I'm going to Australia. I'll Skype her. We'll be all right. Plus, we have a, you know, for me. And our relationship is a little strange, too.
I was about to say your relationship is a little different or whatever like that. So I think my relationship with my daughter is so close, bro. Like we talk all the time, and you know we hang out together, it's me and her. Right. So I think it's just a little bit different or whatever. And then my son, he's only 6 or whatever, so that too. So you know, as well. So anyway,
that was deep, number. Man. That was deep.
That was deep. That's a good number. I'm gonna pick that one. Let's go with 2. 1, 2.
Wow. Jumping straight to 2. And my kid said, yes, that's crazy, at Little Ant. All right. So, number 2 says, do you believe in ghosts or evil spirits? It says, would you be willing to spend a night alone in a remote house that is supposedly haunted? So, first, do you believe in ghosts or evil spirits?
No, fuck no.
Okay.
I mean, plus religiously and stuff like that, I don't believe in that stuff, whatever. I'm like, I ain't afraid of no ghosts, but I would say no. But the remote house thing, now just because I don't believe in ghosts or evil spirits, two things can be true. I cannot believe in them, and that house can still be scary, you know,
right.
AF or whatever like that. So I don't think I would because I don't know what else going on in this house or whatever like that. And is it set up, or I don't ever get no sleep at all, especially if it's already like looks haunted and scary or whatnot. So I probably would not spend a night there by myself overall. Let's give me some weapons and whatnot. Yeah. And I'm gonna like,
you know what's crazy? So what you said is so weird, right? You don't believe in ghosts or evil spirits, but you wouldn't go to a house that's supposed to be haunted. You would think you'd like, yeah, I go to a house that's supposed to be haunted because I don't believe in such thing, right? But you're like, nah.
Because one, it still can have a scary effect. Like, okay, let's say like you go to a haunted house that's now, or you go to Great Adventure or something like that. You know that it's not real or whatever, but it still can scare you. Like if you go on a haunted hayride and they pop out, oh, you still get scared.
I do them every year. I literally pay people money to scare me every year. Me and Sandy go to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I wouldn't. I still want to do it because of that factor. I would say, even though I don't believe in that,
Okay. So you don't like haunted hay rides and all that.
I love it. I love it, but I wouldn't stay in a house by myself either because I mean, I don't know. I think of more stuff besides the haunted aspect.
I
If
got you.
somebody else go up on the house, might run up on me. Like I don't know. Like
Ain't
that's
nobody
that,
add
that,
all
that,
that to it, but all right, cool. Um,
huh? I come. Listen, I come from the hood, baby. I'm never
listen,
cool in
bro.
this house. I
Hey,
don't know who else was here, who know about it, who watching. Like, yeah, he didn't buy so it's a rob. I don't know. See, I think about all the stuff. You know
okay,
what I mean?
well, if none of that was gonna happen,
If none of that was
but
happening, I would
supposedly it was
just.
haunted.
I would stay there. I would stay. I don't worry about it.
All right.
Not
Well,
me.
you know what's cool is one of the movies that I never ever forget this line. Probably one of my favorite lines in movie cinema is the movie, and again, it's my favorite. My favorite actor is Anthony Hopkins, and he did a horror movie called The Right. And the guy, it was about the guy who didn't believe in ghosts, spirits, nothing, right? And Anthony Hopkins was like a priest, and he said, "Listen, just because you don't believe in the devil doesn't mean he's not real." And I was like, "Ooh, that hit hard." Like, so I'll answer the question. I never ever seen anything that could really make me feel that spirits are real, right? But my grandma is from Jamaica, and it's spirit like that stuff is so common for them. My grandma 100% tells me that ghosts are real, spirits are real. I have a sister, my dad's first kid. She's older than me. I don't remember how much, but we never met in person, but we met over the phone. And she's a
Yeah.
psychic. And if you see her YouTube
Yeah.
channel, you'd be like she's creepy, scary psychic, like that creepy, like whatever. So she 100% is like, trust me, it's whatever. But I personally haven't seen anything, so I'm still a little afraid, right? So I'm gonna answer the question this way. No, I don't really believe in ghosts or evil spirits because I never seen anything that make me feel like it was really real. And I feel like if they are real, how come everybody haven't seen them, right? Um,
Right.
so right now I'm gonna say I don't believe it, but part of me is that I still have that it's possible. So if there's a haunted house, so they're saying it's haunted, but I don't believe in ghosts, I'm still chicken enough to be like, I ain't trying to find out either. So
Right.
now, if we throw in money in there, right, then that changes
Right.
things. If there's some type of like, oh, if you stay there, you get $1 million. Like it's so haunted, you don't believe, right? Well, we'll give not a million. Million's probably too much, but we'll give you $20,000 if you could stay the night. I'm trying it because I don't really believe,
Right.
but I don't know that. Yeah, so I don't. Yes, my answer is I don't believe in ghosts, but chances are I probably wouldn't go because I'll be afraid.
Yeah, well, okay, I would go, especially if the ghost is the issue and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that and whatnot. And I'm not really a person who believes in fear itself, but that's another story or whatever like that. So, but so yeah, I would definitely go. Now, if you told me other things were happening, like I said, I wouldn't go only because of the present danger, and I don't want myself in a situation or whatever like that.
Yeah,
But
but that
just
wasn't
go,
in the
just nah.
question though. You're adding
Okay,
that.
all right. So nah, just if it's just like go here
It's just
because it
because it
may be
might be like,
ghosted.
all right, for instance,
Nah,
the Amityville house is real. Like that happened in real life, right? Whether we believe it or not, but that's real, right? That's based off a true story. So what if that house? They said, hey, Mike, we've all heard that was real. We've seen multiple
I'm saying,
movies,
bro.
and they say, Mike, you don't believe in ghosts? No, I don't. Well, would you stay at the Amityville house a night?
I'm gone. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm going.
so you will.
Have you? Huh?
So you will.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I don't really have like. Have you ever? This be going to the show. Have you ever? What's the Will Smith movie with his son Jaden or whatever?
The one where they was in outer space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. But he said this spirit quote, but the quote actually comes from um, a Buddhist or stuff like that.
The only thing to fear is
And
fear itself.
no, that's no.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's kind of the aspect of it. But anyway, hold on, let me. One second.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
right, so he says fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It's a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not, at present, and may not ever exist. Right?
Right.
So, if I'm going to this house, it it doesn't exist right now, and it may not ever happen. So I won't have to fear to go. I kind of believe in this or whatever like
Right.
that. Now, he says, don't misguide me. The danger can be very real, but fear itself is a choice. That's kind of how I live. I don't have fear,
Yeah.
whatever like
Well,
that.
you
You
know
know
what?
what I'm saying?
So I actually experienced that in my life. So that is true. Again, I would have told myself I had arachnophobia. I probably would have seen a psychiatrist. They would have said I had arachnophobia. And when I was dating this girl, she was a smoker, and I never smoked. So I was like, I'm Mister, you could do whatever you want. Your mind tell you. So I said, yo, why don't you quit smoking? You could do it. Go cold turkey. She's like, you dummy. It's chemicals inside of a cigarette that make it hard. I'm like, whatever, man. She's like, well, aren't you afraid of spiders? I was like, yeah. She's like, well, how about you quit being afraid of spiders? And I love when somebody challenged me. And I was like, you know what? Starting today, I will no longer be afraid of spiders. And I swear to God, I was at work catching spiders in napkins, throwing them outside. I used to walk down the street. I remember one time my boy Matt, if he's still watching, we were walking down the street in Trenton, in Hamilton Avenue, and I walked in the spider web. Didn't even hit. I was like, ah! Like people's like, bro, you're a bit extra. And even my son is like that now, which is weird, right? But yeah, but literally, she challenged me, and I literally broke it. That moment, I said I won't be afraid of spiders, and it really was just in my mind. My mind was telling me I was afraid of spiders because they're creepy and they got 8 legs and it feels crazy if they're crawling on you. But that wasn't the case.
It's the same aspect that we see in movies, right? And you see the one guy is about to shoot the guy, but the other guy keeps walking towards him.
Right.
He's like, I'll shoot you, and he's like, go ahead and do it or whatever. The danger is real, but the fear
Yes.
is the choice that he's not having at that moment. It's the
Right.
same aspect or whatever. So that's how I live. Whatever.
That was
So
deep, man.
anyway,
Let's see what my kid said. She said definitely believe in evil spirits and ghosts, but not in the traditional sense. But here's something you said, Mike. I want to ask you. You said because you're spiritual, but I went to church. I thought the Bible says that the ghosts and spirits are real in the Bible.
spirits, yes, like she's saying, but not like a ooh goals like you talking about like from the
Yeah, but there
from the
are
haunted
demons
houses.
in the Bible.
Definitely demons.
So I mean that would be considered an evil spirit, right?
Yeah, but what's it going to do? Is it going to kill me? Or is it going to take me over?
I don't know. Remember it? Remember it possessed dude in the Bible, and they had to take all the spirits and put it in the pig, and the pig fell off the cliff.
Well, I said the danger is real, but the fear is
Right.
the issue. So
Yeah,
I'm
well,
still
yeah.
going because.
No, I was just saying because at first you was like, you don't believe in evil spirits and all that. But I mean, and you said because you're spiritual.
I don't believe in ghosts. Yeah, I don't believe in ghosts like Ghostbusters type of ghosts. Like I don't, or like
you don't believe in like the
or
paranormal activity?
or like I walked in the bathroom, right? And did the whole Candyman challenge. Said it 5 times with the lights off in the mirror.
Yeah, but that's pretty stupid. But you don't believe in stuff like paranormal activity?
It's stupid. People are afraid of it.
No, yeah, definitely. But you don't believe in stuff like paranormal activity, that type of stuff?
I've never seen those movies, so I can't.
Oh, really?
Wow. Yeah, not a single one of them. I've never seen them.
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah. So I can't even. I heard they're good though. I guess there's new one coming out and whatnot. So nah. I mean, now I don't watch like things like that. Like even The Ring, right? I've never seen that either, right? I don't watch that because I'm not entertained by that, not because I'm scared of it or nothing like that. I like the scary movies like Jason and Freddy, even like
Michael Myers, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I like an actual person who might run up behind me and stab me.
Okay.
That's more entertaining to me than those kind of like spirits stuff like that.
Gotcha.
I'm not gonna scare. Either way, I'm not scared. It's just like you know what I'm saying. It's different types. Or whatever, like
yeah, I got you. Yeah.
So, even Saw, I like the now that I like the. It's not really, I guess, like part horror, like especially when it first came out.
Yeah.
But it's just the creativity I like about that and the mystery that's building and things of that nature. So, but anyway, move on to my stuff or whatever.
Okay, let's go. So, guys, this is Mike's versus question, and he makes these up on his own too.
I guess I'm places too.
Okay.
I'm not even lie about that or whatever. So, okay, so All right, we got 1 through 25. Hold on, it's in my notes. Now I actually install an add-on.
Guys, also you can answer these too if you like. So just know that.
All right, there we go. I think it's like okay, got it. All right, so we got 1 through 24. I believe you guys read one last time. I haven't added any. So yeah, 1 through 24.
Okay.
1 through 24. What you got?
Give me 24.
Okay, it's a good one for you, actually. Would you rather be an infamous villain or an unknown hero?
Um, I'll be an unknown hero. When I was younger, I always gravitated to like the leaders in every like cartoon. He-Man was my dude. Optimus was my dude. Duke was my dude. Leonardo was my dude. So and then a lot of superheroes, you never knew who he was. Like that was a growing thing. Like you didn't know who Spider-Man was. You didn't know who Batman was. You didn't, it was more new age that they found out who Spider-Man was, or they found, But yeah, I mean, I would definitely be the hero that you don't know. Running around trying to save the day, and people just didn't know who I was, and I'll be watching it on the news, be like, oh man, people have no clue that was me. Because I think at the end of the day, getting the job done, saving people is the thing. I wasn't doing it for fame. I'm just doing it to be a hero. So it wouldn't really matter that you knew who I was. It would be a little annoying, I guess, sometimes, especially if you see like how James Jameson hates Spider-Man. But it's like, bro, what do you mean? I'm a good guy, and he works for him, and he'd be like, ah. But I think that at the end of the day, being the hero, to save people, and it makes sense that they don't know who you are, because then villains could try to come and kill you. So yeah, I'll go that route.
It's interesting to me. You can even liken this to wrestling in some sorts, but I'll get that in a second.
Mm.
But for me, I would probably be the infamous villain and
Okay.
whatnot. Like I would, I like, I would rather the world knew who I was, what I was accomplishing. Because even if you think about it, like Thanos, right, or like Joker and whatnot, even though they always lose in the end. I know you hate Joker, but whatever. But even though they always lose in the end, the Joker's had 3 solo movies by itself. You know what I'm saying? Like they are so infamous that the world still loves them, even as being the villain, stuff like that, or whatever. Like Thanos still fucked them up today, right? Or whatever. And there's some heroes like like before this, like Doctor, before the Doctor with the soldiers. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather
Why?
just be the person that everybody
Yeah.
knows and stuff like that, or whatever. Even if I'm playing the villain, or I am the villain, that being the unknown hero, because that could be a thankless job sometimes too, like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you feel good because you save people, but like you said, like okay, Falcon, perfect example. When he goes to the bank, he still can't get a loan, or
Yeah.
whatever like that, or this and that. So it's like a thankless job at the end of the day, or whatnot. So I'll definitely be the villain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just comes down to do I want to be evil and killing people versus I want to help people. So, I mean, I don't
Well,
think
I didn't say killing or whatever like that.
I mean, you're a villain, so bank robbing, whatever you're doing, but at the end of the day, you ain't definitely ain't helping people. So yeah, I mean, you know, um,
Yeah, I mean, morally, I mean, yes, I would throw that in there, I guess. But without the moral aspect, I'd rather be a known bad guy than known.
I got you.
Like, okay, I got a perfect example for you or whatever. Like your boy Roman Reigns, right? So when he was good, he was kind of on the fence
Yep.
with how much he was liked and
He
disliked.
sucked.
Now that he's bad,
He wasn't on the fence. He sucked. You could say it.
right? Okay, but now that he's bad, his
Oh man,
biggest.
bro! I was just watching last night. I'm like, yo, this is the greatest thing in wrestling right now. And I'm like, I can't
Right.
believe how much I like Roman's story now that he's bad. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So like that, he's more of an infamous heel.
Listen,
As a good guy,
if your question was in a movie or yeah, I agree with you. But if it's like real life, like no, I don't want to be the bad guy that everybody know. because I'm the bad guy. But yeah, I'll be the. When I think of a hero, I don't think of superpowers. I just think of how Kick A was. Like he was just a regular dude getting beat up,
Right,
but he
right,
was trying to do the right thing. And at the end of the day, I commend him for it. But
right. Okay.
yeah. Now if it's a dude, yo, would you play the villain that everybody knows, or would you play the superhero that they can't show their identity? Like for instance, remember what is it? Something recently, or even in movies, but I think it was something recently why they take people masks off a lot because the known actors want to actually be seen.
Oh, Mandalorian, where he was a
Yeah,
Japanese.
exactly. So, if the question was, would you want to star in a movie as a superhero and you can't show your face, but you could be the villain and you could show your face? It's like, yeah, now I want people to know that was me. I want like Black Nar. Like, who plays Black Nar? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Right. And you don't even think about it. Don't even care. Whatever. But yeah.
All right, I got you. All right.
Yeah.
Good question. Either way.
Yeah, that was good.
All right. All right. So take out 24. So make it 1, 2, 23. Then I got you. I'm gonna go ahead and erase that question right now. So I'll keep it in there.
All right, let me see what's up to Ray. Sherrod jumped in the building. What's up, Ray? Ray, I thought I added this to the chat so you can see it, and I realized I added it to the public chat and not our chat. So my bad, because I knew you would have jumped in. I know Ray likes the show. And also
Yeah, what's up, Ray?
yeah, I wanted him to be a guest too, and he was going to when we was going to do Mother's Day, but then he couldn't, and we end up couldn't anyway. But yeah, so Ray definitely wants to be a guest on the show. So
Cool, cool, cool.
um
Okay.
I'm gonna pick number one. I'm gonna do the first and last, or last and first.
All right. Oh, okay. This is interesting too for you. I love it. Uh, would you rather have a button that you can push anytime to slow down a good day or to speed up a bad day?
A day.
The day is going
Okay.
great.
Okay.
You have a button you can slow it down so you can enjoy that good day. Or the day's going horrible, so you got a button to speed up a bad day. Which one would you pick?
So what's cool with me is when I go to work, when I get to work, they're always like, "Oh, here go Anthony." I'm like, "Yo, what's going on?" And they're like, "Yo, why are you so happy, man? Like, what the hell?" I was like, "I don't know, man. I just always had the energy, right?" I always say like, "Yo, I don't really have bad days anymore." Like, I've been through so much in life that like, what I love to say is everything is situational, right? Like, I was big on the whole, "Oh, cops are racist." I'm like, if somebody in Minnesota, a racist cop in Minnesota, killed somebody, and then another cop in Arizona, two parallels, killed somebody, like everybody, oh, see, they're all racist. Like those, and they both could have been racist, but those are two individual incidents, right? So for me, I don't have a bad day, right? Might have a bad moment, but I don't have bad days, right? I get up and stub my toe, and then I'm late to work. I'm in my heart of hearts, bro. My day ain't bad because by lunchtime I'm gonna be good. I like the other day my mortgage went up considerably, right? Like $100. I'm like, yo, what the hell? So I called the mortgage company. It's like, oh no, I think your taxes went up in this. So I still even forgot to call the my insurance. Say, hey, what's up with my insurance? That was that incident, right? So for me, to answer your question, I don't have bad days. Bad days is a train is a mindset, right? You have a bad day because you made your day bad because your outlook on that day was bad. I don't think there's a such for me. There's not a such thing as a bad day, but there's some good days. Meaning, man, there were so many things happening that day that was good. Where this was a good day because I went here, I did this, I seen my boy I haven't seen in a while. My girl came over, blah blah blah. So yes, in that aspect, I would slow down a good day. I get through a quote unquote bad day because it doesn't exist for me.
Got you. Okay. Well, I actually agree with you on that. I mean, not about the bad day. I think I had some bad days. I know a lot about that or whatever. But I do agree with you that I would definitely rather slow down a good day. I want to, like enjoy those moments for as long as I can
Yeah.
because who knows what I'm gonna have. You know what else was making that day good? It won't be ever duplicated, right? It won't be exact. So even if it's another good day, that I'm having, it won't be the same as what made that day good.
Right.
So that particular day, if it's good, then I want to slow down and enjoy all those aspects of that day, what made that day good and whatnot. So I would definitely slow down the good day just to keep those moments and whatnot or whatever it is. Like if it's let's say I'm at a barbecue with some friends and family, and I'm just like, yo, this is just,
right.
Man, this is a good time. I just want to let's slow this thing down. I'm gonna let that a little bit. I will let this pass.
So I got a side question for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Is there an incident, right, like a certain time frame that if you could just prolong or be caught in it forever, or for like, let's say when you have a bad day, you could say, you know what, I could go into this machine, hit a button, and it's gonna transport me to this certain time in life that was great, right? Whether it was a span of a week, and you could relive that out for that time, and then you come back to regular life and you feel better about things. If so, what would be a time would you do?
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, your question made me think of that.
Now, are we saying? Oh man, is it like a week, a summer,
Well,
a
no, so
month, or
it's up to you. It's whatever, because I'm gonna say mine. My honeymoon was absolutely amazing. We like relaxed barely. We relaxed for like 2 days. The other 7 days or 6 days, we did speedboat rate. Like we was all over the place. We had great food. Like everything was great. So if I had like a moment where I'm like, you know what, man, I'm down a little bit. Let me go into the machine and relive my honeymoon for those 8 days. It was 7 days actually. It was seven. Our vacation package is 8 days, but we actually got married on the 8th day, so we missed a day, and then we caught the plane the very next day. So for 7 days. So yeah, I would go into this thing, and then boom, it will pop me into my honeymoon, and I'll relive my honeymoon because it was amazing. Is there a certain time you could think of that you would like to relive?
That's actually.
And it's not just like every now and then, because it has to be something you pick, right? So like every now and then, you're like, you know what, man, I'm about to just go relive that, and then you go to the machine. Like maybe you could do it like 5 times a year. So you pick throughout the year.
Right. That's a damn good question, bro.
Right.
Actually, that's better than the question from the verses or whatever like that. Trying to think. Give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of it too while you were talking. Your honeymoon is a good one. I wish I had a honeymoon in my life, whatever like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have one of those. So, but let me see.
And while you're thinking, Ray said, lurking and watching BigMike.LittleAnt, and Makia says, speed up a bad day.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. And you know what else? Why I answer that too, or whatever. Another reason why I wouldn't do that,
Okay.
Anthony, or whatever, is because I could speed up a bad day, and then tomorrow could be bad.
I know, right? You're like, yo, I should have saved this for tomorrow.
Right, exactly. So I don't want to hold on to the good day or whatever like that. But nevertheless, I would have to take it all the way back to like honestly like my childhood or whatever.
Okay.
Honestly. And I would say one of my family vacations down the seaside when we used to go. And
nice.
Like there was like a point where there was like the height. Like we had been going for I mean we still go. But now it's like 32 years, something like that. But at that point we were probably just we had been still going probably about like 10 or 12 years as a family. We would go for a week during July 4th week. And you know, earlier it started with like a little bit of the family, then a few more will pile in, and then it'll go away, blah blah blah. But at one point it was like the height. And that particular week, it was like the whole family actually wound up going, which had never happened. Whole family, at least in Jersey. So we had like at least like 16 hotel rooms at this one hotel, right? Down there. So when it came to like, you know, the pool, we took over the whole pool. Like just my family and stuff like that. Because there was so many of us, stuff like that. I remember us all getting together all the time to like do the events on the boardwalk together, all the rides. We were all on the same roller coaster together. You know what I mean? Like 30 of us or more. And it was like that week was probably the height of those trips, and where my family's all together having a great time. Then we'll go into the rooms and stuff, play cards, and you know we would like shoot dice against the dressers. It was just crazy. And even on rainy days, we like go in each other's rooms and make up games to play because it was raining down
Right.
there. So that week right there was probably the best week I ever had with my family.
How old were you think?
I think I was probably about 15 or whatever, 15 or 16. So I was old enough to still, I remember, go do things on my own without like chaperones and stuff like that or whatever. But not old enough to be an adult, but also not young enough where I couldn't really enjoy it either at the same time. Like
that's awesome.
All that company or whatever, yeah. So I would say
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. And then I remember like me and my cousins, right? Cause I'm like 15 or 16. Like we were like, go to the boardwalk at night or whatever. And I know a lot of people go to Seaside or Legacy. They're never there at night or whatever. It's a whole different atmosphere. If you're there, you probably know.
Yeah. I mean, I used to leave my house at 10 p.m. I went for the nightlife. Yeah.
Right. The nightlife is totally different and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember one night we literally like stayed up, and my family's big on cards. Me and my cousins played cards all night, and we were all night literally. I remember like 6:30 in the morning, we were like just still up and walked back with it for a while. Like, it was a crazy time, but probably one of the best weeks I've seen.
That's cool. That's cool. So just imagine how cool it would be if this was the future. You were like, yo, man, I'm just, you could relive it for five times out of a year. And it's like how you schedule a vacation. You'd be like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna use this for my birthday this year. And then you go into the machine, hit the button, and then and you just.
If I was younger, probably not. But at 16, I would do it. Like I said, I was old enough to still kind of do my own thing. So.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. But anyway, hey, that's our show.
That's our show.
This question from Little Ant, which is wonderful. But I'll be back this week with a half-court traps show on the end of the basketball season, which has come to us right now, stuff like that, reflecting on some different things. Also, of course, the movie theaters are back. So, good thing that means that Anthony and I can go to a movie together and do a review right outside of the theater, as we have done several times, on our channel. So look for that as well to be coming, definitely a few times this summer and whatnot. And besides that, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I also gotta add you did a couple episodes on the Poetic Charm, right?
I did a few episodes of that, and I did one this last Thursday. I'll be back on this Thursday. Hopefully back on Mental Theater as well, stuff like that.
So we'll have to add that to the we'll add that to the playlist.
Next week we'll be together actually going to a escape room actually. So I'm sure knowing Anthony, there'll be a video with that as well.
Yeah. I forgot. Wow, that's crazy. You know what's crazy when we plan stuff out far out? What date is that?
That's 23rd. 22nd. 23rd.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we got
23rd. Yeah. Why? Hold on. You already paid for it. Anyway.
I forgot. All right. Well, I'm gonna have an issue.
We'll have it after the show.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Anyway, thank you guys again for watching.
All right, guys.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. And, just let you know I'm Big Mike.
And I'm Little Ant. Out.